Welcome to Aunty Lou's Hour. If you like this podcast, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Tiommi. Is it Tiommi or Tiommi?
Tiommi.
Tiommi. I just love saying your name, Tiommi. All the way from Arkansas.
Yes, in the United States. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy. Anyway, let's just get to it. So,
Okay.
first of all, the most important thing is that I love your nails. Can you show
Thank
them?
you. Yes, I can. Thank
Oh,
you.
they're gorgeous. Oh, I
Thank
love
you.
them. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about you. Was you born was you born in Arkansas? Are you from Arkansas?
Yes. Hello, everyone who's going to watch this. My name is Tiommi Luckett, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. And yes, I am a native of Arkansas. I currently still live in Arkansas.
What is
And
it like?
I grew up in a really small town where everyone knew everyone, right? And it's still that way today. So I grew up in a family of 10, including my parents. So I had 7 siblings. I am the sixth child
Out
um,
of seven. Out of seven.
out of 8.
Out of
I'm the
eight.
sixth child out of 8, yes.
Okay.
So my brothers, the twins, we all had the same mother and father. My mom was married prior to my dad and had 5 others.
Okay. Oh
So
wow, yeah.
yeah, so I come from a very big family, and I'm really big on family. But it wasn't always
Uh,
like that. I had my time, my rift away from family where I had to get myself together. But now we're strong,
yeah.
you know.
I mean, that
So
really paints that just those few sentences really paint a good picture. A
yes.
really small town, a massive family, and then there's you. How dare you be different and
I know,
inside that
right?
box?
That is, and through it all, I had my mom to protect me from everyone's thoughts and opinions of me. And it wasn't until my mom died in 2016 that everyone just unleashed all of the verbal diarrhea that they had been wanting to spew against me for years. Um, but yeah, she protected me, she shielded me from that. And it kind of, like upset me to know that, my mom would not be truthful to me. But again, like I said, she was doing it to protect me. She didn't ever want to see me hurt. And so, my family and I, we kind of drifted apart because, like you said, how dare I be different, right?
Different. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, you
Hmm.
you were born a boy. How can you say that you're a woman now, right?
Well, can I ask you, can you remember how old you were when you felt, well, I'm different?
Oh,
Like, I don't fit in.
yeah, I was a young kid, right? So it's much like the children today who have the opportunity to transition at an early age. I wasn't afforded that opportunity, right? I grew up in a Black family in Southern United States in Arkansas. And no, as a way of protecting me, because they were shielding me from everything that this messed up world has to offer, right? And so, it was at a young age. It was at a young age where I started dressing different, but in secret, right? Um, and Wonder Woman was my favorite show. It was my
Too.
favorite
Yeah,
show. I
yeah,
was
yeah.
glued in front of the television, and I'm like, okay, here's this regular woman, and then out of nowhere, she is this powerful force for good, right? And it was the femininity of it all, and it left something to be desired. And I was like, you know what? Women are powerful. And that was before I even thought about like the women in my own home and seeing
Yeah.
their struggles and seeing their resistance and resilience.
It's so important to live your, excuse me. Oh dear. Sorry. It's so important to live your authentic self
Yes.
if you can. And it sounds like at a young age you felt different. Did you come out, or did your family just notice, your friends of the family? Like, how did your mum react? How did people react when you said, I'm different, I'm a woman?
Thank you for that question. I, even at an early age, I knew that something was different with me, but I was not feeling safe enough to express that, right? Um, Out of those 8 kids, my mom had 5 boys. And so 2 of them were older than me, and 2 of them were younger than me. But the 2 that were younger than me were right there with me, right? So I had to be mindful of everything that I did because I didn't want anyone telling on me. So it wasn't until I was 21 that I decided, okay, I'm an adult now in the eyes of the law. I can drink, I can buy alcohol, so I can
Yeah,
live life, right?
yeah,
And it wasn't until 21 that I decided to officially do things different. So it started with my appearance and it started with my hair.
yeah.
And to answer your question, how did my mom feel about it? My mom was my biggest supporter through thick and thin. I'm I have a best friend. Her name is Valerie, and she and I went to cosmetology school together. Well,
What's cosmic? Is that makeup?
it's
Cosmo.
it's hair.
Oh,
Hair
right.
and nails are included, right? And so I would be in Valerie's chair getting my hair done, and my mom would be right beside me waiting to get the same hairstyle. So she supported me in that way. If I did something, she had to do it too. And so she was always in solidarity with me. My dad, that's when things really started to kind of drift apart between me
Mm.
and my dad, right? And it was funny. It's funny now because I realized that he did love me. He did like value me as his child because he always like complimented me and bragged about how good I was in school and my grades to all of my friends. But it was different at home. And I know now that, he did that because he was scared for me and
Yeah,
know what would happen to me. And he didn't want anything to happen to me, right? And it took years for me to get to a place of understanding that he did what he needed to do during the time because, life was different, or right now we're trying to go right back to what
yeah.
he had already survived, right? With this current political climate. So, but since then, like since both my parents have transitioned on, my siblings and I are closer than ever, and we're planning to get together for my second oldest brother's 55th birthday celebration, and so I can't wait. I really can't wait.
You know what? I look at you as a Black woman,
Yes.
right? I so see you because, when you think about intersectionality, yeah, you have, um, being a Black person,
Hmm.
then being female, then
Hmm.
being trans, and
Hmm.
then you had to go and get HIV. You know,
Okay.
so 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 when I look at, there's not many people that I kind of like look up to. I'm not one for celebrity. I'm not one for, oh my God, like it's the Queen or someone important. Like, I'm quite nonchalant about people. When I
Right.
look at people like you, real women who have gone through, I understand the HIV journey, and that is tough in itself. I
Mhm.
understand the woman journey because that is
Oh, yes.
within itself. I understand a Black person journey because that's tough within itself. But then the trans journey, you see what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I admire women like you who are sitting there smiling. I can see your radiance coming through the screen, and I really respect and admire you. And I'm so glad that you're here. And if there's anyone listening that can resonate with with you, your journey, your struggles, your hope. This is what hope and being at peace with yourself can
Right.
look. And I want to say
It's possible.
I want to say shout out to your mum, God bless her,
I
and
know,
your
right?
dad. Shout out. Your dad passed on as well. And
Yeah.
shout out to your family who are supporting you, because that's why you're smiling. That's why you have this energy. That's why you're able to come on and radiate, because of the love of your family. We
Yeah.
are all so different, Anyway, so tell me, so you went and got HIV, right? So what was
Yeah.
that journey like when you first found out? What year was it?
Um,
Was it like more than 10 years ago, less than 10 years ago?
yes, it was more than 10 years ago. I was officially diagnosed in September of 2012. Okay. So what it was like back then, no one was talking about it.
No.
And it was funny because I had started losing my hearing, right? And
Oh,
so as
yeah.
a condition of HIV. And so what ended up happening was I had adenoids that were never removed from my nasal passages, and they became infected with the HIV. And so the fluid from my sinuses started filling my ear canals because the ear, nose, throat, and mouth are all connected, right?
Connected, yeah.
And so instead of it draining from my nose, it would flood my ears, and I started losing my hearing rapidly. So a friend of mine in a 12-step program, she was like, I need you to hear me. It was very selfish of her, but I love her for it, right?
Yeah.
So she went to gathering up resources for me to get a hearing aid, and she did. I was
Oh,
getting fitted for a hearing aid. When I told the audio tech, I said, it's gotten worse. And she said, since you were in here 3 weeks ago, I said, yes, because I could barely hear. And so she sent me to the ear, nose, and throat specialist. And he put a tube in my nose, and that's where he saw that my adenoids had been infected. But he
oh,
also had me to do an MRI because my lymph node in my neck was swollen and I was becoming disfigured. So once I had the MRI and found that it wasn't cancer, he suggested that I get an HIV test. And
yeah.
he set up the appointment at one of the hospitals here in Little Rock. And I went and I waited maybe, I can't remember how long I had to wait, but I did the Western blot test. It was the blood test. And it was confirmed. And so that's how I found out. I got the news while I was riding on the bus from work that I'm living with HIV. So, of course, I was terrified. And if
Yeah.
I ever wanted a career in acting, that was the time, right? Because I
Yeah.
act as if everything was okay. I couldn't break down on public transportation, right? So, and he, being an ear, nose, and throat doctor, had no idea about HIV care. So again, it felt,
Oh,
yes. So I was alone. I was alone. I had a roommate whose partner was positive at the time, but I'm so scared of being rejected that I didn't want to even tell my roommate, right?
oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I pulled out my smartphone, got on Google, typed in a few keywords, and I found the Arkansas AIDS Foundation, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I talked to Dr. Cannon, who told me where to go to get services, right? And it was income based, and I wasn't making much money at the time, so I qualified. And I went in, I got screened. They gave me a list of providers, so there was still more work on my part. I went down that list until one of those doctors said they have space. And I actually got into treatment the very next day.
Mm.
Um, so I went to the doctor, got screened, and I became a part of a study. And because
Oh,
a new HIV med that has probably hit the market by now, right?
yeah.
So I did that study for 92 weeks. All of my HIV care was included in that. Uh,
Yeah.
cost me anything. I started getting my labs done, and I saw him for the first time in January of 2013. And by April of 2013, I was undetectable. He said those words.
Oh,
And
wow. Yeah, yeah.
I asked him, like, what does that mean? And he said, well, you can't give HIV to anyone, right?
Yeah.
This is back in 2013. And U equals U didn't make a grand entrance into the United States. Even this is where it started, right?
Yeah.
Um, until 2016, after Bruce Richmond had come back from the International AIDS Conference in Paris in 2015. And so we met and we started having the conversation about how when you're undetectable and adhering to your medication, then you can't
Mm.
transfer the virus through sex, right?
Yeah.
If you don't
Yeah.
use condoms. And I became a founding member of the U equals U campaign in the United States. And so,
Ah, wow.
yes,
Brilliant.
yes, and so it's come full circle. The U equals U campaign, well, the U equals U University is about to start here
Yes.
this year, next month, in March. Wait, is this February yet? No, this is still January. So in March, the U equals U University is going to start here in the United States because it has gained so much traction
Yeah.
in other countries to where the government even endorses U equals U and makes it mandatory that anyone providing HIV services um, needs to make sure that the person that they're providing service to understands what U equals U is. And so
Hmm.
we're going to get to no new transmissions. I don't know if it'll be in 2030, but we're going to get there. We
I
are.
think we'll get there. The more that we talk about HIV, and once you're on effective medication,
You cannot transmit it.
you can't transmit
You-
it. So it sounds like that once you got on your medication, it was all quite straightforward. You became undetectable. What was stigma like for you?
Yeah, great question. I dealt with a lot of internalized stigma, right?
Mm.
Uh, because, like I said, I referenced earlier, I didn't want to be rejected. I was
Yeah,
already Black and trans in Arkansas.
yeah. Oh
So,
my God.
like,
Oh,
I don't need this thing right now, right? I didn't need it to be public. And that's exactly what happened. Um, so because I started, being freely talking about living with HIV, people were writing about me. And so my story
oh,
became public. And I thought I was in a safe space with other people living with HIV. And you just never know who's around, right? So I had two choices. I could either try to sue because they didn't talk to me. They talked to people in the HIV community. Or I could just own it, right? Because
yeah.
Facebook was popping at the time. And so
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
tagged in this article like maybe 100 times, and that's not an
Yeah.
exaggeration. And I kept trying to delete it. And I said, you know what? This is that moment. This is that make or break you moment. And I always said that I'm not going to do anything that I'm ashamed of people knowing,
Yeah.
right? So I owned it. I did. I owned it. But for 2 years, even though I was undetectable, I did not date. I did not date. And actually what brought me to reality that I could date safely was the U equals U campaign. And so that's when became even more educated about this virus that was living with me, right? And so it went from internalized stigma to, you know what? I'm free. Nobody has any damaging information on me. I can tell my story myself. And so
Yeah.
I became a storyteller.
So you've had to stand up so many times because I mean, like, you've had options to sink or swim in
Yes.
so many parts of your life, and we're sitting here on this podcast, you know, you know, talking about basically your whole life in
Mhm.
terms of times that you've had to sink or swim. What got you through it?
Um, it was my mom. my mom and her belief in a higher power. And right before I learned of my diagnosis, I was in a 12-step program, right?
Oh, really?
Yes. And so I was in a different mindset going through
Yeah.
that program. I wanted to live. I felt like I deserved to live. I felt like I deserved to have nice things, even though like society wasn't readily accepting of me. It's not gonna hurt that, uh, I was palatable to the eyes, right? Easy on the
Yeah.
eyes, but
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
hurt,
You are
right?
easy on the eye. Yeah.
So it didn't hurt. And I just kept remembering that my mom loved God. She loved God up until the moment that she took her last breath. And she had instilled all of that in me, right? So when I felt like I didn't have anyone in the world, I knew that there was a power greater than me. And the 12-step program reinforced that. And so even though I would walk in a room and I would be the only person that I knew there, I still knew that I was going to be okay.
So what was the 12-step program for?
It was for alcohol. I was in Alcoholics Anonymous at the time. And so,
Ooh.
yes, yes. Even though
Ooh.
alcohol wasn't my issue, right? I'm an avid weed smoker. I'm going to tell the truth. So,
You
uh,
naughty
what?
girl.
Yes, yes.
Naughty girl.
At the time, I had gotten into trouble. I had gotten into trouble with the law, and they were forcing me to go to a 12-step program, right? So it took a minute for all of that to catch on because if y'all are after me because I smoke weed, guess what? You're gonna keep coming for me because I'm not gonna stop,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so they actually ended up putting me into a rehab for 45 days. And that's where the mouth swab happened for the first time. And
Yeah.
so, that was in 2010. But mind you, it wasn't until 2 years later that I actually got the confirmatory test. So for 2 years, I denied the results of the mouth swab until
Um,
it became noticeable and there was
yeah.
something I had to do. I was losing my hearing. I was becoming
Yeah.
weird. I had to do something,
I
right?
can relate to that, yeah. And I think there's many of us within the HIV community that have an interesting relationship with alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I hear you say that, I kind of resonate with you as like, so what is your relationship now with alcohol? Do you drink still or
Yeah,
don't you?
I'll drink, but only when I want to, not because I'm invited to a place where people are drinking. If I'm not feeling it, I'm just not feeling it. But my favorite drink is Hennessy. I'm a cognac girl. So if I'm gonna do
Hennessy.
it, I'm gonna do it big, okay? So, matter of fact, I have a wet bar in my apartment, and I have a fifth of Hennessy up there right now, and some Jose Cuervo, which I will not drink. That's for guests. But yeah, it's
That's
not that
funny.
it's not that I shy away from drinking. I just choose to be strategic about drinking, especially in
Oh,
public.
I mean, I find that interesting because I'm the kind of person that I find it difficult to what's the word, ration myself and say I'm only going to have 2 drinks. I seem to have I've tried to be one of those people that will have 1 drink after dinner, and I don't. I finish the bottle, I get paralytic drunk, then I smoke loads of cigarettes. So I just have to
Yeah.
stop. Like I just can't, I don't do it.
Okay.
I just decided to stop. So it's good that you was able to find that balance.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was never something that I just had to have. Like right now,
Yeah.
the Hennessy is here, but I don't have a drink every day. It has to be one of two things that I've really noticed. Either I've had like a really shit day and I just want to feel something or not feel anything at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a celebratory drink. I'm celebrating
Yeah.
an achievement myself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because in this work, I've learned that not everyone who works with you is actually happy for your success, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I don't tend to celebrate my achievements with other people if they're not my family.
So so on that note, 2024, what was you can say more if you want, but one of the things that you're really happy about or your achievements in 2024?
In 2024, this is personal. Um, there you can Google Tiommi, the professional person, right? But personally, in 2024, my relationship with my second oldest brother, who's retired from the Navy, came full circle, right?
Oh,
Um, and so, whereas it appeared to me he did not want to be around me because I'm trans. Now he's the one defending my name with other members of the family, right? And so, like I said, full circle, that familial love is there, and that's the one who we're going to celebrate next month. And so, I am most proud of that because it was like. I have an oldest brother, Albert, love him to death, but he's very quiet. He's very reserved, right? And so he's not rude or anything. Like whenever he sees me, he hugs me. We have
yeah.
conversations, we can talk. We talk on the phone way more than he and my brother David did. And so I had the love of everybody in my family except for this brother in the Navy. And when I needed him last year, he was there in an instant. And
Oh,
I knew that things had changed between us
yeah.
because it had gotten ugly when my mom died. But I'm so
Mm.
glad that we are where we are now because I wouldn't even go visit him. There were many family trips, sibling trips that happened without me because I didn't
Yeah.
want to be there because he was there. Right. So yeah,
Oh,
so happy about that. I'm so
that's
happy.
just amazing to hear. So, sorry, you talked about what do you do professionally?
Professionally, I am a senior national organizer at Transgender Law Center. And where I was a founding member of this program housed at the Transgender Law Center called Positively Trans, I now am an employee of TLC and I run that program, right? So elevated leadership in that way. And then I have other collaborations with other HIV spaces, the Well Project being one.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and so I'm a community advisory board member there, but they gave me my first job in the HIV field. And I will always, always be grateful.
Mm. Shout
Um,
out to the Well Project.
Shout out to the Well Project. Yes. And the leadership over there. Like they saw something in me. And it's not that they wanted to exploit it, they wanted to explore it, wanted me to have more of a reach because they felt like people could relate. And that's what I've learned, right? In doing this work, that it's not even about me. It's about the people who are coming up, who are feeling hopeless, who are feeling scared. I know that feeling. But when I'm in a training room for the first time with some new people, they instantly become inspired to walk in their truth as well. Because if it can work for me, it can work for them as well. So I try to
So
lead by.
on that note, if there's someone listening, if there's a woman or man, I guess, if there's a woman listening to this, what would you, and they just found out they've been diagnosed with HIV and they're struggling, what would you say to them?
I would say that the first thing for them to do is to get connected, right? And get connected to well-meaning, well deserving organizations, right? And so the Well Project is one. And so we have a Girl Like Me where people can blog. Sometimes you just have to get your feelings out. That's how it started for me. I just talked about what it meant to me to have a new diagnosis, right? So I got out all of my fears. I even talked about my hopes when I got to a point where I could dream again.
Hmm.
I did get connected with the Well Project and a community of women who had experienced similar things that I had experienced and were living their best life, right? You get into treatment. This does not have to be a death sentence, right? It doesn't have to be. But because of certain circumstances, not everybody is going to have access to the life-saving medication. So
Yeah.
I would definitely tell them to not do this alone. I did that for the
Yeah.
first years and I was miserable, trying
Yeah.
to hide so much, trying to remember things that I had said,
Yeah.
right? So just being able to, if you don't feel comfortable blogging online, then get you a journal just to get your feelings out, right? Sometimes it helps to be able to see on this particular day, this is how I was feeling, and I'm gonna reference that with how I'm feeling today. What's changed, right? What has given me pearls of hope, right? Um, and like I said, get connected, get into treatment, and
Yeah.
see. You will see. Wait till you hear you're undetectable and what that means to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
life is going to begin anew because that's what happened to me. I'm finally in a point where I can dream about my future. I was
Yeah.
much a day-to-day, one day at a time type of girl. And today
Mm.
I'm planning for my future outside of this work. What is it going to look like for me to just be at peace with
Yeah.
I don't have to be in the spotlight, right? But right
Yeah.
now, we're needed. And I get that. And it's hard work, right?
Yeah.
But I can plan for the future now.
Oh, a wonderful, wonderful way to end our podcast. That was amazing. What we'll do for anyone listening, we'll put in the comments, we'll put the links to some of the organizations that you were talking about. Tiommi, it was an absolute pleasure meeting you.
Oh my
Thank
God, I can't believe it. Aunty Lou's house.
you. Stay on the line and then we'll have a little bit more of a chat. Thank you, my love.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for watching Aunty Lou's Hour. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe.